This is my girl, Puffy. Puffy was the very first Webkinz I ever received, and little Julia was delighted to discover that the tag on this cute little stuffed animal had a code I could use to bring her to life online. Having been a child that consistently begged my parents for a pet, along with a collection of over 100 stuffed animals that I kept on my bed at all times, this was an incredible revelation for me. Over the years, I expanded my Webkinz collection to include 11 different animals, a myriad of outfits, and an absolute mansion of a house for them to live in, complete with a living room, hobby room, greenhouse, bedrooms for everyone, and the biggest kitchen you have ever seen. Sorry, I'm bragging. Clearly, I still have access to this account, and now, at the ripe age of 23, I still like to frequent Webkinz, alright? Sue me. I log in with the username I made when I was 6, collect whatever special gift I received for the day, and head on over to the arcade. The arcade has so many other games to choose from that I remember loving as a kid, like Candy Bash, Smoothie Moves, Zingo's Bounce and Burst. Oh. Okay, well, I guess I can try Zingo's Pop. Oh. No, okay, not that one. Iceberg Escapades? No, not that one either. Okay. I know I'm not the only young adult who likes to frequent Webkinz. According to this website that I'm not sure is entirely accurate, around 55% of the website traffic to Webkinz Classic are adults between the ages of 18 to 34. And because of this, a sentiment that consistently floats around the forums and depths of Reddit, as always, is it was better when I was a kid. It's not a new phenomenon. Everything always seemed better when you were a kid, and entertainment was new and shiny and unjaded by the realities of adult life. It's practically the basis of all of my content now. As any company develops, they have to fight to keep up with the success they once had during their prime, finding new ways to make a profit and stay afloat. But objectively, it's not an incorrect observation that more elements of the website are locked behind a paywall now than they were in 2006. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. The website must make money somehow. Deluxe is their way of making money, and you're absolutely correct. Unfortunately, that's just the way things work. Websites have memberships and paywalls because that is the only way they can make a profit. But if you remember correctly, when the website first launched, Deluxe was not the only way Webkinz was making a profit, because all of this started with a little stuffed animal and a code. Webkinz had a different way of doing things. They had a physical product to utilize. But as society rushed to keep up with the growth of technology and children's entertainment fought over the attention of a new generation glued to an iPad screen, the Society of Kinsville had to adapt as well. So let's explore how we got to this modern era of Webkinz, the rise of Webkinz Deluxe, and the progression of online children's entertainment as a whole. This video is gonna get like 4 views, but who cares? I'm gonna make whatever I want. Webkinz World was launched on April 29, 2005, alongside the release of the first 8 stuffed animals. Howard Gans of the Gans Company conceived and created the idea first in 2002, beginning with just the plush product and looking for a way to get his stuffed animals off the ground. Not believing in the utilization of television advertising, the company decided to invest in a website instead. Once creative director Carl Borst was brought onto the team, he suggested creating a virtual world like the already popular site Neopets, in which users own and care for their own virtual pets. Neopets was free to play, but where they acquired most of their money was immersive advertising. But Webkinz didn't need the advertising, because they had the plushies. The first iteration of a Webkinz membership was simply the mechanics of how the game worked. To utilize the Webkinz website, you had to purchase a physical Webkinz stuffed animal. Each one of these stuffed animals came with a code that users could enter online to acquire a digital version of their pet. This model was f***ing genius, because what this did was combine the novelty and keepsake of traditional toys with the innovation and interaction of the new digital age that was already growing with Neopets and Tamagotchi. Parents and guardians felt successful because they were getting their child a physical toy to play with, and kids got to experience what almost every kid imagines: their stuffed animal being an actual pet, capable of independent thought and ready to beg them to go play games at the arcade every 5 minutes. When users registered a code to their account, they acquired a membership, and in an effort to keep individuals buying their product, that membership only lasted a year. So in order to keep playing with their Webkinz, they had to buy another, and thus the cycle began. By the end of 2007, Webkinz was a top 100 site and the number 4 most searched term on Google. And, of course, other children's entertainment companies had taken notice, sparking an arsenal of Webkinz-inspired websites and products in the coming years. Hasbro launched a virtual world to go with their littlest pet shops. Disney created a line of Tinkerbell-branded e-jewelry with charms that unlock items in the Pixie Hollow online world. Barbie MP3 players can unlock VIP content on BarbieGirls.com. But the real competitive competitors weren't these dupe products. They were the other online worlds themselves. Club Penguin was a massive MMO launched in 2005 that I am at 99% sure everyone watching this video has most likely at least heard about. In the beginning, Club Penguin was solely funded by membership subscriptions. Similarly to other websites at the time, there were no outside advertisements, but payment was required for kids to get cool and exclusive stuff. Wizard 101, Toontown, Animal Jam, and Pixie Hollow were all sites with a similar format. You could play for free, but if you wanted the cool stuff, you had to beg your parents for their credit card to utilize their hard-earned recession money. Children's advertising is incredibly strict, with important guidelines that entertainment corporations have to follow. Children are incredibly impressionable. Most things they learn and experience are brand new to them, as they have been alive for such a tiny little minuscule amount of time. Advertising guidelines emphasize parental guidance, sweepstakes guidelines, and children's safety to assure that children's entertainment remains safe from capitalistic influence. But as the internet expanded and children gained unrestricted access to the World Wide Web, the guidelines have gotten more complicated and the line has been blurred. To keep up with it, advertising in children's websites is also monitored, and anything that costs actual money must clearly state that it costs money. This is why Moshi Monsters' membership faced legal issues from the UK advertising code when its purchases weren't worded clearly. Of course, this wasn't the only legal trouble Moshi Monsters faced, since the infamous Lady Go-Go debacle exists, but that's not what this video is about. Webkinz did start utilizing advertisements in 2007 in the form of movie promotions, such as Alvin and the Chipmunks and the Bee Movie, but was immediately met with backlash from parents. An advocacy group from Boston called the Campaign for a Commercial-Free Childhood immediately called for the ads' removal, and Webkinz gave no comment, but the Alvin and the Chipmunks ads disappeared soon after. So, children's advertising is complicated. By 2009, Webkinz sales were beginning to decline from their peak. Maybe it was the recession that I seem to mention in every single video of mine. Maybe it was just the natural decline of an internet fad. Who's to say? Whatever the reason, Webkinz needed something to keep the company going, as well as something to keep longtime players entertained. To do this, they took a page out of the big book of internet MMOs. Which brings us to... Guys, I'm gonna be so real with you here, I have actually no idea when Webkinz Deluxe was actually introduced, but I can tell you it was most likely around the time of April 2009, due to the fact that this is the first mention of Deluxe in the Kinsville Times, and the first time it shows up on the Wayback Machine. The first iteration of Deluxe membership was mainly so that parents could stop having to purchase stuffed animals to continue the membership. So, in order to keep your account, the options became either purchase another stuffed animal or purchase Webkinz Deluxe. Either way, you're giving the company money. Along with this, Deluxe came with a special gift box and eStore points, access to a special membership tab in the activities page, and a designated Kinz Chat color zone so that Deluxe people could all chat with one another. And also a fun little hat. Prices ranged from $5 for 1 month to $45 for an annual membership, which isn't bad. That seems reasonable, however, if you look at the inflation calculator, this is actually like $60 a year. There also was the option to do a family membership, in which up to 5 accounts could be under the same membership. But notice that everything included in this version of the Deluxe membership is extra stuff. Anything that regular Webkinz players were able to do remained the same. Nothing was taken away from the regular players. It's for this reason that, in my head, Deluxe didn't really feel like a big thing as a kid. I don't know, maybe I was like the only one, but I wasn't really begging my parents for a Deluxe account, because unless you really used Kinz Chat a lot or you really wanted that cool hat, you didn't feel left out on Webkinz without a Deluxe account. I mean, sure, you got a special prize box each month, but if you had enough Webkinz, you were getting boxes every month and acquiring enough birthday cake slices to feed a small village for all of your pets' birthdays, so you were good. In January of 2010, the membership looked around the same, except for a change in the duration of lengths you could get a membership for. A year later, the lengths changed again, with a month-long membership being available again, this time for $2, but the family membership option had disappeared. And a year later, in January of 2012, the prices stayed the same along with most of the perks, but there was one major addition: Deluxe-only arcade games. And this is where you can start to notice a difference between not being Deluxe and being Deluxe, because suddenly the kids that were Deluxe had the option to have a little more fun. As far as I know, based on my one singular source that is a YouTube video from August of 2012, the Deluxe games were Leapin' Llama, Whimsy Skies, and Star Drops. They were a mystery to all who didn't play Deluxe, which introduces us to the sociological concerns of these Deluxe deluxe memberships having been brought up by researchers. This video is about to get real nerdy, like it wasn't already. The concept of an online membership on these children's websites has led to a discourse surrounding how they affect how children perceive the world. As online spaces like Webkinz and Club Penguin increasingly became a main source of childhood socialization, it also became impossible to avoid the sentiment that having more money makes you cooler. Paying money on websites gets you access to exclusive rooms, gets you a special club to chat with other deluxe members, gets you bigger houses and more clothes and special gifts and that cool hat. Money equals material. And sure, that's no different than the actual way the world works. The class system makes it so that the more money you have, the more opportunities and access you gain. But the question isn't, is this the way the world works? It's, should children be introduced to this class system this early in their life? Granted, sometimes it's unavoidable and children are going to learn it at some point, but how early should they learn this? Should children be learning that money makes the world go round this early on their online playground? It's giving Dr. Seuss. Ultimately, this discourse didn't change anything. Websites are businesses and needed to make money somehow, so they had to introduce the deluxe format to toe the line between providing open, free access and still making enough money to operate. But Julia, Webkinz was never free. You had to buy a stuffed animal to play. Oh, you're so right, little voice in my head. But I have news for you. 2012 was a big year for Webkinz because not only was the small change made to the contents of the deluxe membership, but an even bigger one was also made to the concept of a Webkinz membership as a whole. The game itself transitioned to a freemium model. What this means is that a child didn't necessarily have to purchase a stuffed animal with a code to access the site. Kids could adopt a pet online for free and acquire a base level account, effectively changing the membership formula to a 3-tiered system. At the first level was a completely free account, with a free pet and fairly limited access. Freemium players could only have 3 rooms, limited clothes and items, and no access to various rooms such as the vacation island or trade rooms. They also had no option to turn off third-party advertising, which had become a thing over the course of the past few years, despite the parental backlash I spoke of earlier. The freemium membership was also a way for individuals to keep playing even after their year-long membership ran out. At the second level was the full membership, which is essentially the original membership we had been talking about. With a full membership, you gained access to a lot of the areas closed off by the free account, but were still barred from a few deluxe-only areas. With deluxe, players could access everywhere, as well as have extra quests, jobs, and games. Several games that were once just full membership became deluxe, and suddenly it started to look like a lot more was deluxe than not. Several years later, another major shift in the online entertainment sphere led to a change in Webkinz, along with online children's websites, the death of Adobe Flash Player. With the discontinuation of Adobe Flash, websites scrambled to modify their engines in order to continue to operate. Webkinz had already switched to a browser-based format prior to the death of Flash, but it still was a significant loss. Webkinz had developed a new format aimed towards the new generation, titled Webkinz Next, utilizing 3D avatars, with the original Webkinz format becoming retitled to Webkinz Classic for us old ones. It was at this moment in my research that I realized the notion that Webkinz is only for deluxe members is kind of a mirage, a sentiment clouded by a nostalgic lens with little understanding of how the Webkinz membership actually worked. The reason I couldn't do much on Webkinz anymore was simply because I hadn't purchased a Webkinz in probably close to 10 years. So I wasn't on a full membership, I was on the base level free membership. But I have a question for you. When was the last time you saw a Webkinz sold on the shelf of an actual store? Probably not for a long time, since classic Webkinz haven't been sold since 2019, and I'm not counting thrift stores. Notice I said classic Webkinz, because plush Webkinz are still sold, they just look ugly as Look at these bitches, they look traumatized. They're just rip-off Beanie Boos. I don't know these ugly guys, and I sure as hell have never seen them in a store. Damn, I'm sorry, that was really aggressive. They really aren't that bad. I haven't seen them in a store because I genuinely don't think they are sold in stores. So where do you acquire a Webkinz, plush or not, for a full membership, dear viewer? Where you acquire most things these days. The internet. Webkinz Beanie Boo ripoffs can be purchased online, or you can just straight up purchase a digital pet on the e-store and have it in your account without a plush to accompany it. With the rapid expansion of online shopping and the age of Amazon, it isn't unusual anymore to purchase a strictly digital pet. The novelty of the physical purchase that parents loved and that changed the toy industry is no longer a necessity. The internet has expanded so far that parents don't bat an eye when they fork over their credit card info for some online entertainment. The new generation of parents are the millennials that grew up on the internet internet, so paying for a virtual pet isn't a scary concept. Not to mention the fact that grabbing the interest of the iPad generation needs to be a quick process. Children don't want to find out about Webkinz and then wait to purchase a physical stuffed animal. They want it now. But where is the whimsy? Where is the joy? It's fun to have a physical stuffed animal, and it's not like kids aren't into them anymore. I have experience at toy stores. I know these kids want their damn Jellycats. But the truth is, everything has its time, and unfortunately, nothing good can last forever. Jellycats will one day lose their charm, just as Webkinz did. Beanie Babies and Cabbage Patch Kids are found on the shelves of thrift stores, and one day those Labubu's will join them. Sorry, Labubu lovers. I don't hate them. I was just apparently really aggressive when I wrote this script. Webkinz Deluxe and capitalism and the death of Adobe Flash didn't ruin Webkinz. Webkinz still operates like it did in the 2010s, purely for the nostalgia of people like me, but they have to make their money somehow. You don't have to be deluxe to experience the joy of Webkinz. Just the joy of more material. But if anyone from the Gans Corporation is one of my 10 viewers watching this random ass video of mine right now, I have a request for you. Re-release the classic stuffed animals. Dude, there's such a market for that right now. Our generation is hungry for nostalgia. You could make bank. Guys! Hey. She looks insane, dude. She looks like if you took a cotton ball and ran it underwater and then pulled it apart and then left it on the bathroom counter and gave it a nose and a little bow. And I could never get the fur to, this is how she looked my whole life. Two divas serving face. Can't even see her eyes. The poor thing, she's blind. She has no eyes. In the beginning, Club Penguin was solely funded by membership. I just realized this whole time, my smoothie has been in the background. Advertising guidelines emphasize parental guidelines? Okay.